lunch, toucan and fruit acrylic painting, and this is part 2 with the citrus. Hi everyone! In today's video I'm going to be showing you part 2 of my toucan and fruit painting, lunch. This one is going to be all of those little fruits at the very base of the painting. So that's going to be a lemon, a lime, a kiwi, some grapes, and a strawberry. So the reason that I'm splitting all of these pieces out into a whole bunch of different videos is because I wanted to spend enough time on each one to really make it worthwhile to see what I'm doing. If you want to see something a little bit more sped up and a little more quick paced, there is going to be a time-lapse video that is the entire thing done much quicker, only in a couple minutes. So if that's what more you're looking for, definitely check below. So there'll be links to that video as well as all the other segments of this painting in the description box below, and don't forget to click subscribe to see my future videos as well. So I'm going to start with the lemon, and I'm going to begin just by adding a layer of white paint over the entire lemon. For especially the ones that are kind of a brighter color, adding that white layer underneath just helps make the other pigments on top brighter and easier to work with. So then add yellow over the top of it, blend some white in for the highlight, and some bright green down just along the bottom edge mostly, just for a little bit of a low light there. And then I'm going to take that yellow, and because there's some white blended into the top of the fruit, you could just go through and add little polka dots to add the texture to this to the skin with the yellow. And if you get to the bottom and then the yellow dots aren't showing up, switch to that bright green color and just add a couple with that instead. So then I'm going to take with some diluted white paint, and I'm going to be furthering the highlights right at the top of that just by kind of going around and outlining those little dots that we had, and kind of break it up. Don't leave them all in the same place. Add a little bit more of really intense white just to really make it look like it's kind of waxy and bright. And then for the lime, I'm going to start the exact same way by adding that layer of white paint over the top of the lime. And then I'm going to be doing the rind first because this one is cut. I'm going to start and just add dark green, but then blending in some brighter green kind of in the middle. Just once again, highlight, make it look nice and round. So you want to really focus the highlight in the middle. And then I'm going to be filling in the middle of it. So I'm going to start with that creamy yellow color that goes around the segments of the lime. So around each of those segments. So just with a little tiny pinch of yellow mixed into your white paint there. And then add the segments of the lime with really, really bright green. And I do want to mention just quick for a moment that I say bright green in every one of these videos several times because I used a lot of green. And my bright greens do vary from every single fruit. So I switch it up and I make some a little yellow or some a little bit, just, they're not the same bright green. You want to keep things a little bit different just so that it doesn't look like you just have a bottle of paint and you're adding it to the whole thing. And then I highlighted the segments a little bit. You want them to be darker towards the center and a little bit lighter around the outside. Add a little bit more white to the very, very center. And then just with a couple little lines, add some definition to the pulp of the fruit, as well as add some highlights to it with some white paint and diluted white paint. So just make it, because it's got the little, there's little segments inside, the little pulp inside the segments. Then some highlights, touching everything up, making sure it looks all pretty. And then I'm going to be adding with that dark green paint that I started with originally on the rind, I'm going to be adding the little tiny polka dots for the texture on the lime. So just little tiny dots to add that little bit, and then a couple white dots for highlights on the rind as well. So now for the kiwi, I'm going to begin with just some brown going over the skin on the kiwi. Same thing, the kiwi is cut, and then I'm going to be blending in some green and some white. The kiwi's skin is not, it's not really like a green brown, but it's a little greener than some things. And then fill in the middle with bright green once again. And then I am adding a little bit of yellow into this green, and then adding some dark green into the center and kind of blending that out. You want it to look a little bit darker because the kiwi is a little bit clearer in the center, and so you can see farther in. And then add the very center of the kiwi, which is like a light green or a white, making it a little bit brighter. And then I'm going to take in and add the seeds going around it. So just add a whole bunch of little black seeds right around that center that is the white. And it's not like a circle, it's kind of it's a weird little shape in the center there. And then add some highlights on the flesh of the kiwi, and then start adding the little fuzz on the kiwi's skin. So I began with diluted white paint and just sort of sketched out the direction of the fuzz. And then I'm going to go through with some tan, and I'm going to add a little bit more distinct lines for that texture. So the reason I just started with the white is I sometimes think it's easier to know what direction you're making all the little fuzz lines and just kind of make them quick in the beginning, and if they're not perfect, you can just get rid of them and then go through with a little bit more intense color and make them a little more perfect. And then I'm going to take and I'm going to be adding the stems and everything to my grapes. So I'm just going to begin with brown and add the stems first, anywhere where I think there should be a stem or that a stem would show, and then start going through and adding all the details to the grapes. Now there is going to be a grape video that's part 6 that'll be in a couple days from now. that I'll upload that's got the vines and all the grapes at the top of the painting, and we'll go a little bit more in depth on actually what I do to paint grapes. There's also a video that I uploaded around a year ago that is grapes and snails. I like grapes, so I paint them every once in a while. I get like an urge to paint grapes. And so there's that video as well, and I can stick a link to that one in the description box below, because if you want to see how I did them, I think it might have changed a little bit, my methods on painting grapes. Pretty much the same, but you know, sometimes things change. So just fill in your grapes and kind of jump around a little bit. So fill in one here, then one there, just so that they have time to dry before you paint another one right next to it. Highlight your grapes with some diluted white paint and highlight every single grape. Make sure that they really do show up from each other, and then add a little bit more of a brighter white highlight on them, a little bit of black here and there, just to make sure that you can separate them from the next one over. And then take some diluted black paint and just add a shadow under all of the fruit as well as the crate. I didn't add the shadow under the crate before, so I'm just going to go ahead and do that now as well. And the strawberry, which you're probably thinking, what happened to strawberry? That was an afterthought. That was not part of the original plan for the painting, so that's why I did not do it when I did the rest of this. So then I'm just going to first start with a layer of red over it, then start blending in some blue in the shadowy areas, some white in the highlights. The reason I use blue instead of like a gray or something is I really like the color that you get when you put blue in shadows on red. Always have, so that's why I did that. And then with red again, I'm just going to take and add a whole bunch of little polka dots all over it, as well as some burgundy along the bottom in the shadows. That's because where the seeds are, there's a little indent, so we want to add just a little bit of a darker area right there. And then with a beige color, add the seeds, and then do a little bit of shadow on some of the lower seeds with brown, and some highlights on the higher up in the highlighter areas with white. And then I just went through with a little bit more red and kind of shrunk down the size of them because they got a little bit big, and my seeds, I didn't want them so big, so I just made them a little smaller. Then with diluted white paint, I'm going to add a little highlight on there, and then I'm going to be adding some leaves on my strawberry. So I'm just going to take with some medium green, add the leaves, highlight that with white, and then as I'm doing this, I'm just making sure that I kind of have a leaf over the entire top of the strawberry, then add some some shadows underneath the leaves, add a little bit of a stem, and then add your shadow underneath the strawberry as well. And that is it for this section. As I upload the next videos along, I will put links to all of those in the description box below. So if you want to see the rest of it, definitely check that out. I am in love with this painting and I can't wait to show you the rest of it. Also, don't forget to check out my Facebook and Instagram accounts. I'm posting some art on there that I didn't have an opportunity to record, so check that, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye!